Good morning, everyone. So nice to see you all. And welcome to this first new VentureLab event of the season, physical event. And we're also filming it to make sure that everyone who couldn't make it today will see it. So you're at the Grohuset, our new menu here. And we're here to talk about Grohuset, mine and Nikla's journey, and what we will be doing here. Okay, so it's quite easy. We have Niklas. Yeah. So extremely easy to remember, and we're here to help. Primarily students, but of course we're open for all sorts of collaborations with the different programs and faculties as well. Looking at myself first, I have a background in web development. I've been working with analyzing websites for a living for like 10 years, doing front-end development, so that's my background. A bit of a computer nerd, if you will, and then I resettled and started to go to school here instead, which is great. I'm somewhat of a hydroponic grower, so that's what I'm famous for. I've developed a couple of systems, amongst others Harvey, the little system you're seeing here in Grohuset, which is a hydroponic part that's on sale now through Nelson Gardens, different retailers. I'm also an author within the same topic, so I've written a book about hydroponics. So everything I've been doing really when it comes to food production and growing food and everything within the green sector has been towards hydroponic systems. And it's really now that we're steering away from that a bit and looking towards other venues. That's why we have the big kitchen garden, amongst other things. How about you?
How about me? I'm so far from a computer geek that you could get big.
You tried to make this presentation. I had to take over.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm an environmental scientist. I went to Malmö University, or Högskolan as it was called when I went there. So 3 years of education there. Have a long experience in restaurant business. Couple of years ago, so I'm still a bit rusty. So I hope this was okay anyway. I've done a couple of social events within growing with kids and with adults, trying to extend their knowledge in growing and trying to get them to grow more of their own foods. And I built most of the stuff here. Unfortunately not the house. I would wanted to take credit for that, but at least the small stuff like 200 square meters greenhouse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
what you could say is that you're the more practical social chef person, and I'm more the nerd who goes into details of kind of growing person and computers.
Yeah.
So I think we complement each other
definitely
well, and I think that's important for VentureLab, that we have a different set of skill sets that we can bring to the table and help students and with their different venues, because they can be quite different.
Yeah.
Okay, Grohuset. So coming up with the name, first of all, extremely big challenge. It took like 6 months.
Yeah, more or less the hardest part of it all. Yeah. We had competitions, and we had help from new students and things like that.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I hope you like the name, because we're students.
Yeah.
And the idea behind Grohuset is primarily it started out, and it's still a project within LEADER. So it's in part funded by LEADER, which is an EU finance program. And it's the application and what we're doing within that project is mostly a test bed. So in that sense, it's meant to be an arena where we can try out different things. So we have different stations. We have the greenhouse, we have the kitchen garden, we're thinking of other plots as well. So it's really a place where we can develop ideas and products and also help students develop those ideas and products. So right now we're looking into how we can approach researchers and how we can approach different faculties within SLU to actually get some projects started there. We have been working with a couple of applications with some researchers, and one didn't went through, unfortunately, and we're working towards another partnership now. And we're also helping out, for instance, with the agroecology program.
Yeah.
So that's just one of the things we're trying to nest our way in really into the campus as much as possible. And because I think that's important, because what you're hearing from students, and being a student myself, it's this always, where's the practical applications? And it's so much text and reading, and Antonio, at least from the agroecology program, he feels like his students are coming from a more practical background many times, and they're sort of really missing and lacking that part. So we're trying to bring that back so we can actually take the theory and implement it right away. So that's the idea behind the test bed, really, is to, okay, so I've read about this thing. Can we do a trial? Can we test it? So it's both high-flying stuff and really smaller things, just over a couple of seasons. And we can also mention, when it comes to the education center part, we're trying also there to get into the program. So we're having discussions with Ling and Lab and the program directors, just to get the students to do things here, really, and to design a garden, to set things up. So we had a meeting with, who was that?
Yeah,
exactly.
Stefan.
And one of everyone, exactly.
And one other person,
Yeah.
I don't remember. But the thing is that we want to enable for the students to do something real. Mm-hmm. So when they actually are done, they can, with more confidence, tell you that I've done this, I've done this process, I've done this work, instead of just I read an article from someone who did this work.
Yeah.
So we want to enable that for the students through VentureLab.
Yeah, exactly. So we're hoping that will take off, really, and a part of that is really hosting not only lectures where you sit and passively listen, but also doing workshops more. So our idea is really to, with every lecture, there will be a follow-up workshop. So you can have this practical approach as well, and trying to get in with companies more and see that connection there. So that's at least what we're looking for. So that brings us to collaborations. So one thing we're hoping for to do within VentureLab is really to get more of the companies involved. So that's been lacking. Right now we have a lot of academia on campus, but there are not many companies that actually can connect with the students. And that's something we've been hearing a lot. So that's something we're looking forward to doing here as well, is to have these arenas where we can find these collaborations. So and that's with faculty as well. So I think if you foresee somewhere where we can do something practical here that could involve students and maybe even a company, that's something that would be extremely interesting. So, you can always stop by and have a cup of coffee and Niklas will bake you something. So we want this to be this really connection between academia and the public sector, really. So that's what we're hoping for. See if we can do it.
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, enough about Grohuset. Do you like the house, by the way?
Yes.
It will be even more pretty.
Yeah, just give it a few years.
Okay. So I had to bring out this quote, there's no lack of idea, it's the road from idea to reality that's the hard part.
It is. Yeah, it's a brilliant quote.
And so talking about ideas, it's a good idea can come from anywhere else. So a big part of what we're doing here within VentureLab is trying to inspire, really. And that's why we're hosting an insane amount of lectures and workshops and talks this autumn. Unfortunately, we are sort of limited in the capacity when it comes to COVID, so we can't have that much physical activity. But we are recording everything and sharing it afterwards, which is always something. But so coming up really next week, we have to talk about 5G and Internet of Things and how you can use that within agriculture to create more informed farmers, really. So that's something we're looking forward to. That will be hosting here on Thursday.
Yep.
We have Håkan Wallander coming in about 2 weeks. He'll be talking about solutions for deep phosphorus. Anyone familiar with Håkan? No, I thought he was more famous.
Maybe we should silence Håkan Hetsson. Yeah, we're.
He's written a book about jord, the big yellow one. Have you seen it? No. Well, he's famous. And then we have Lakritsfabriken. Have you eaten their candy?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's
There we go.
They've actually started an organic farm outside Helsingborg, growing the first licorice in Sweden, and they're using that in their production. So that's really his journey as an entrepreneur. Slow flower movement. Have you heard of the slow flower movement? It's quite exciting as well. It's an initiative that started actually just last year, which is addressing the problem with flowers being produced and shipped from Africa. So that has a very, very high CO2 impact. So now we've been seeing a lot of Swedish growers actually moving into this slow flower business, which is quite exciting. So we have a great host, Vitalin, coming here talking about her journey as a producer of flowers for the Swedish market. Woods. There's a lot of woods in Sweden.
Yeah.
So we have sustainable forestry, really how you can mix different trees together to create a more harmonic ecosystem. So it's quite interesting. I didn't know the big problem and debate that is within the forest industry, and it's quite exciting to listen to. So that's something we're looking forward to. And you're hosting the Cell event, right?
Yeah, we sell off to restaurants. We've, of course, when we build this up, we understand that it's not that easy to sell to restaurants. It's difficult to see how much can we charge for our product, how much are the restaurants willing to pay for our product. So we're going to have a event on 9, where we're going to talk to them how they are thinking with the local production and how they can afford it and what's their top money they can.
How much can they pay?
How much can they pay? How much are they willing to pay for a local product? So that could be a good way of somehow get started to think if you're up to that task and if you want to be a producer, what you need to think about.
Is it okay to ask questions?
Do it.
While you are talking?
Yeah.
I was thinking, are you in discussion with the new restaurant about this? Because one of their...
Yeah, it's on me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because, I mean, that's interesting that they had a plan that they were going to produce things here in Arlanda.
So yeah, we're going to be at Arlanda and speaking with that owner. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, so it's all about how you as a producer can sell. What does it take to sell to a restaurant? And we've been having discussions with them as well. Yeah, but we are not currently selling anything to you.
It's a hard start.
So a big part of beside the inspirational talks is the business development. So as a student, you're welcome to come here to get coaching. It's confidential, it's free. And you get to talk with me or Nicholas or with Nicholas at SLU. So that's something we're hoping for, that students will actually, it's this leap to actually start to do something, to start thinking about an idea that can be challenging sometimes. We believe that it's this is meant to be sort of a first meeting, just sitting down, discussing, and see if there's some viability and what steps you need to take to actually bring it forward. And coming from our background and the development we've been doing, we have a pretty big network, and that's always expanding. So if you're a student, you can take part of that network, and we're also, open for other collaborations as well with faculties, and just tapping into that network and seeing how we can get it together. So there's an opportunity as well for verification of ideas. I used it as a student here last year to verify